When watching the Hobbit trilogy, one really gets a sense of wanting for the past. The Hobbit trilogy really engrosses itself in nostalgia and foreshadowing that has nothing to do with their respective films. To add to this, they hardly understood what worked about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. With CGI that will quickly be dated and a story that lacks grandeur or nuance, there really is no reason to rewatch these films at any point. So with the mission statement out of the way, I found the first Hobbit film to be the best of the three. It tries its hardest to distinguish itself from the original franchise. However, I don't like how it tried to do that. It essentially did it in the same way an edgy teen would try to break away from their family, that being by being as different as possible. Oh, your character was a passive soy boy? Well, ours is a snarky Giga Chad. Oh, your films had dark undertones and implications about the evils of men? Well, our fights will always be black and white and super uninteresting. Oh, you're not a musical? Well, we'll have 6 musical numbers. And personally, I didn't find these drastic changes to be all that beneficial to the franchise. The start of the film I thought was actually really good. It showed Bilbo getting long in the tooth, and you could really get a feel for him being like, I'm gonna die soon, so now's as good a time as any to write an autobiography. But it's kind of ruined by Frodo coming up and being like, oh, what's this weird orc stuff? Dog, your house is a hole in the ground. There is no way you wouldn't have poked through everything at least at one point in your life. But then they get super long in the exposition, and I seriously got so bored during it. Why did the King of the Elves have to pay homage to the King of the Dwarves? You pay homage to your liege. Why is a king paying homage to another king? And I guess the homage thing was supposed to set up them having an alliance, but I didn't understand why the Elf King showed up with this entire army if he knew there was nothing he could do to fight Smaug. And I don't understand why Thorin expected him to do anything with his massive elf army. And why was his massive elf army just beyond the hill? Was the Elf King expecting the Dwarf Kingdom to be assaulted? Then I didn't get how everyone thought that Smaug was dead. Either he's alive and he's coming out of there every once in a while to eat, or he's dead and he hasn't been out in a long time. I don't get how he can be inside and not starving to death. There's only one real technical aspect I liked in the entire film, and that was the transition from Bilbo being old to Bilbo being young. But that's even ruined by the stupid subtitle that says 60 years earlier. If the time frame doesn't matter, don't bother telling it to the audience. And I love the exchange between Bilbo and Gandalf, but the audio mixing was so terrible. The music was just blaring, so you couldn't hear the tail end of their conversation. Really enjoyed all the dwarves, although I don't get why they're so mean and standoffish to Bilbo. This is a person they're gonna be traveling with for months, if not years, and I don't know why you gotta be a dick to them as soon as you meet. I thought the diner scene did a really good job of establishing all the dwarves' characters and what set them apart. But one of them didn't speak English or common tongue or whatever, and I don't know why. He seems to be from, Dumbledore or whatever the dwarf mountain thing is. So why do you not speak the rest of the language that everyone else does? And I get this was a cute moment, a little ha ha ha. But all the dwarves falling through the door, so stupid. I mean, were you guys pushing one another against it? How do you collapse into the room? And then just before they take off, the best scene in the entire movie happens where the dwarves are singing that low, grumbly mountain song. And you just really got to feel that they really desperately wanted to return to their home. You got this full understanding of how tragic this event was to them. And it's honestly a great way to kick off the story. That being said, I don't understand why Bilbo joins the company. Sure, the song was touching, but he didn't seem yeah, I need to go help these people get their home. He seems to want to go on the adventure with them. But why would the song convince him that this is going to be, a fun and whimsical adventure? No, this is going to be tragic. They're going to fight a dragon. During the hillside chat, the dwarves talk about how they actually tried to retake the mountain years ago, which is awesome. I think that would be something that would realistically happen. But the orcs got there first, and the orcs had set up camp. Did the orcs try to kill Smaug? I don't get how they're just able to sit inside the mountain and try to retake it. And had the orcs not been there, what was the plan? Do you guys have any way to kill Smaug? Then I didn't get why Azog swore to kill off the line of Durin. What do you got against dwarves? And this flashback really established like the bar of how these battles were going to look throughout this trilogy, and they just look awful. They look so like bland and colorless and so uninteresting in terms of like tactics or anything like that, and certainly overuse of copy and paste of like the same model. Then in the Radagast cutscene, I should say, in the Radagast section, he finds this porcupine who's been like poisoned. But why is the necromancer poisoning porcupines? Just send in your spiders. They'll get the job done for you. You don't need to be wasting your magic on killing little porcupines. And then the big spiders that the necromancer sent to like break into Radagast's home, they like kind of like hit it, and then they run, and nothing is gained by doing that. They don't really try to kill Radagast, and Radagast finds out their whole freaking plan from knowing this, so why on earth did the necromancer send the spiders? When Feely and Keely notice the horses are around, they just kind of stand and go. And they don't like investigate, and like, isn't that the whole point of being on guard? The crux of the troll fight relies on the fact that Bilbo doesn't have a knife to cut open some rope. And why? He would be expected to fight. Thorin would make sure Bilbo had a weapon. There's no way that they wouldn't arm their 14th member. One thing I don't really feel as though the filmmakers even tried to like do well was Gandalf's like double. Clearly they either hired a 7-foot person to like wear his clothes when they needed like a mostly dwarf scene, or they'd take like a long shot and CGI the dwarves to look smaller than Gandalf. Either way, it just looked terrible every time both of them were on screen. And I don't know how those trolls got a hold of so much money and those swords. Like, how on earth were you able to get ancient elven blades, something that the elves clearly cared deeply about, and like all that money? What were you gonna do with that, huh? During like the council meeting, Gandalf is like pushed to reveal the necromancer blade, proof of the necromancer's existence, onto the table to like stun the other council members. But why did he need to be like pushed to do that? Were you not planning on showing the blade? You seem to have it right in your lap, where you just be like, yeah, just in case any of these people try to stab me, like, sword. Then when the dwarves fall into the big goblin-like trap thing, I don't get how Bilbo is able to like hold off that one goblin, soldier. Like, this person's probably been fighting for their entire life, and Bilbo is just kind of like blocking every blow, and I don't get that. Bilbo's a hobbit who's never even held the sword before, much less used it. And then after Bilbo falls further into the goblin tunnels, his like bones come out of his fingers. Why? Oh my god, you'd be screaming in pain. Not only that, you would not be able to do anything he does for the like last 20 minutes of the film. That you would just be in too much pain to think. In Bilbo's intellectual battle with Gollum, why doesn't it occur to him to just lie? Like, make up something that doesn't make sense and then just say that Gollum's wrong. I get that they're both kind of being like honorable with it, but like, you think that you'll be eaten if you lose? So why would you not try your hardest to stay alive? And while we're on the game of riddles, I don't get how Gollum like didn't notice his precious was gone sooner. I feel as though if you cared about an item that much, you'd notice within like 5 minutes if it wasn't on your person. A weird leap in logic at the end of the film when Azog has like Thorin on the ground, like he's ready to be killed. Azog takes or sends one of his guys to go and like chop the head off of Thorin. Why? You took an oath to kill the line of Durin. Don't you want to like take that head yourself? I know this is like a meme in the Lord of the Rings universe, if you will, but why don't the Eagles take them to Gondor? Do they have something better going on? They didn't have that much further to go, given the last shot of the film. Overall, film's a C-. It had a nice variety of color in certain areas, I suppose, but honestly, not a single actor in the entire film really like wowed me with their performance. The story wasn't all that compelling, and it was really held back by its really awful looking sets. Not a very good start to the trilogy.